So, hi, Karma Chow peeps. I'm here today with Amber, who is a very dear friend of mine, and she is the founder of BodyHeart, which is so dear to me, especially since in my life I've struggled with, body image issues and eating issues, and I find that a lot of women have these struggles. So I really wanted to introduce her to you today. She's doing this amazing virtual online boot camp, and I am here to interview her to talk about that. So welcome, Amber. Thanks for being with me
Yay.
today.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm really honored that you thought to do this.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm really excited, and I'm just excited for your boot camp launch. And I just think what you're doing is so important to help women, and I mean men too. There was actually a guy who posted on my Facebook board about, how he has body stuff going on after I posted something from you. So, I think men and women all struggle with it. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you some questions today, and just so that my peeps can get to know you and a little bit about Body Heart and the boot camp.
Perfect.
So I'm just going to use my cheat sheet, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So just tell us a little bit about how BodyHeart began and what is your mission of BodyHeart?
Sure. For me, BodyHeart actually was grown or born out of my own personal experience. I grew up as a dancer and an actress, and really, bought into the belief that in order to be successful, I had to be as thin as I possibly could be, and that was actually thinner than what my body really wanted to be. Yeah, so I struggled for years. I did the Zone, I did Mary Lou Henner, I did the Master Cleanser, I did, like, if there was a diet, I was on it, and what ended up happening a lot of times for me, it was like 6 months I would deprive myself, and then 6 months I would overindulge, and it was this cycle of back and forth. And what really woke me up was, I'm 5'4.5", and I weigh about 130 pounds on any given day. That's
Okay.
the size my body wants to be, and that's fine with me. But it
And
was
you look
not.
great.
Thank you. But it was not in the past. I really
Right.
wanted to be thin, thin, thin. And I finally I starved myself and got to 113 pounds. And that's
Wow.
quite a significant, from 130 to 113.
Yes.
And, people in my life thought I was sick, but I thought, I look good. What are they talking about? But then I realized I'd still look in the mirror, or I'd still see pictures of myself, and I'd still think I have to be smaller. Like,
Yeah.
it's still not enough. Well, I want to be
Right.
taller, and I want to have bigger boobs, and I wish I didn't have cellulite, and what can I do about that? And I would still pick myself up, or pick myself
Right.
apart.
Right.
And I just thought, how small do I have to be in order to be happy?
Yeah.
Something
So no
else.
matter what you did, it didn't feel good because it was an internal thing.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that is when I really woke up, and I was like, all right, I don't want to live this way. It was like I was at war. I was at war with my body every single day, and I was tired of it. So I took a year and really started just to venture to see if it was possible. I didn't even think it was possible for me to love this body, the God pod that I have,
Yes.
So the fortunate news is I got to an amazing place of acceptance and appreciation, and it's now my mission to free others, because I believe that angst, that junk, that keeps us
Yes.
small, that
Yeah.
keeps us from really playing big in the world. It keeps us from answering our calling, or building our business, or being in a healthy, happy relationship. Like, there are so
Yes.
many pieces of that puzzle that our body, how we feel about our body, gets in the way of.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it all starts with the physical, but it's so connected to our mental and emotional state, how we're feeling day to day.
Yeah.
So I so acknowledge you, and I love your mission, and that's why I wanted to introduce you to my people. And so I just have a couple more questions
Sure.
for you. So a lot of my clients, they really want to eat healthy, and they struggle with body image issues or overeating. And, they tend to kind of sabotage their efforts. They'll start out really good, and then they'll, stop, or something will happen. And so what would you say is the first step to moving past this struggle of, really coming to a place where they can feel freedom within themselves? Like, what would be the first step that you would say to take?
Well, for me, the first step that I found, or the thing that really helped to clarify things for me, was the concept of having a relationship with your body, or my body.
Right.
So the concept of, I refer to my body as a she, or a her. Like, I think
Right.
she has her own wants and her own needs, and it's up to
Yes.
me to build a healthy relationship with her. So it takes
Right.
two in a relationship, right?
Yes.
We don't really think that way in our culture. We think that way in terms of like a significant other, but you can have a relationship with anything. And so the question that I ask is, what makes a relationship successful? And the answers that I come to are communication, trust, respect, and love.
Yes.
So then you start to ask yourself, how can I bring those qualities into my relationship with my body?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and that it also tends to separate you from your body, so that, because it's really hard if you're in it to break out of it and to see it differently. And this gives you a little bit of separation so that you can have some neutrality, so that you can offer some healing. Our bodies are communicating with us every second of the day. If we're tired, if we wake up energized and full of life, if we're hungry, if we're bloated, if we're gassy, if we have a headache, like, that's her telling you, listen to me. But we aren't so in tune with that.
Yes.
So it's really about getting in tune with that. And then when you have a respect for that, and you know how she thrives and what causes her to thrive, then you want to take care of her.
Yes, absolutely.
And the other element that I would say that goes into that is focus. Take your focus off of the weight loss. Take your focus, bring your focus onto something that brings you joy.
Right.
Look for joy. Yeah, look for joy every day. Make it a priority in your life, because the thing is, when you're happy, that's when you're really in tune with your body. Yes. You're not obsessing about, what am I eating? Oh, I ate too much of that. Did I work out today? Oh, those pants don't fit. Or, gosh, that picture looks terrible. Like, you're not thinking about those things.
Absolutely.
I often use the example of, how many times this has certainly happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to you and your readers as well, but like, you go on vacation and you give yourself, you're like, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to do whatever I want. Exactly. Yeah. And then you come back and you actually lose weight.
Yes.
And you're like, how did I do that? I was eating and I was drinking and I was, having a good time. And it's because you were having a good time.
Yeah.
You weren't stressed about it.
In the moment. Yeah. In the moment, being present and doing things that you enjoy. And when, like you said, when you're in that healthy state with yourself, you don't think about that stuff and obsess about your body. You just kind of move through your day like from a healthy place, from a healthy attitude, and from a healthy, I love that.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
And the other thing is, our bodies are with us our entire time on this planet, right?
Oh, yes.
So it's not like, and again, I'm only speaking from my experience. I still have moments where I overeat, or I still have moments where I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I feel so fat today.
Yeah.
But those moments have become less and less and less.
Yeah.
So it's really about having compassion for where you are, taking responsibility, and then knowing that if those moments come up again, it's okay. You're going to get through it, and there's another day tomorrow.
Right. And I really feel that acceptance is a big part of it too. Like, obviously our bodies are the way they are and we can't change them overnight. So it's like really coming to a place of acceptance and then just taking those positive steps toward, if you really want to change or really want to feel healthy from the inside out, it's like take whatever those positive actions are.
Exactly. How committed are you?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the other thing I was just thinking was to realize what is in your control and what isn't.
Exactly.
For me, I wanted to be taller. And my ideal body was taller.
Yeah. I'm
not going to be taller. I'm not going to suddenly
wear high heels all the time.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to have a growth spurt at 35. That's not going to happen. So realizing that is completely unattainable for me, and then letting that go so that I can actually accept what I do have.
Absolutely. And, Tony Horton, who is a client of mine and a big, exercise guy, he always says, the two things you can control in your life are what you put in your mouth and how you move your body. And also, what you're thinking about yourself. You can control that,
Exactly.
and it's, you can put it in a positive direction instead of going in the negative direction. Oftentimes we just have that script running that's like, oh, I'm not good, I'm fat, I'm this, but we can actually make a conscious decision to change that, which is something that you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So do you feel that willpower is the main factor in healthy eating, or is it something deeper? Everybody talks about willpower.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have willpower.
willpower,
Yeah,
like
I
that is going to get you maybe a week if you're lucky.
Yeah.
It's really about the deeper issues, like what
Yeah.
is causing you to participate in the self-sabotaging behaviors.
Right.
And it usually boils down into some form of, I don't feel worthy, I don't feel lovable,
Right.
I'm not good enough. And then it's really looking at those and then finding out for you what it's like. This is, if you've ever watched a baby or a child, they come into this world and they know they are worthy. They
Yes.
know they are lovable. There's no question about it as they go through life. But somewhere along the way, we start to pick up patterns and we learn things. And it's like we imprison ourselves. So then all of our adult life, we start to peel back the layers of worth. Right? Oh, I don't need that. I bought into that belief. My mom told me I was fat once and I've been carrying that with me forever. Oh, that's where that's from. So we let go of that. And then we feel pretty good and then we keep going and then suddenly there's a new awareness of. So it's really about just deepening and unfolding those old patterns that just aren't serving you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned commitment before, and it is about, how committed are you? And do you just want to live in this space of constantly like running this same script, or do you want to take action and help yourself in those things?
Exactly.
And I love what you said about the patterns and like someone telling you, my brother's going to kill me for saying this, but when I was young, I was always like a twig when I was young. But my brother was always like, you have a fat butt, you have a fat butt. But like, I was always a twig, but I grew up and he would do it to tease me, but I grew up thinking that I had the biggest butt in the world.
Oh.
So like, I would wear shirts that would cover my butt all the time. I'd wear like men's flannel shirts and I dressed like a boy, and like, for so long, that was my script running. Like, you have a big butt, you have a big butt. And I told my brother that once. He's like, oh my God, I don't remember saying that to you. But it's like, even though he didn't remember saying it, I took it on as mine.
Sure.
Even though it wasn't true.
Yeah.
So we live from those things that we hear and we don't even know that we're consciously taking them in.
Exactly.
So it's like, what are those things that you took on at such a young age and let that run your life, and really tapping into that?
Exactly. And I love that you brought up commitment, because it's every day it's a commitment and a recommitment and a recommitment. Because it's about taking ownership of your body and your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, on my journey with healthy eating and veganism and where I came in my business, it has been a huge commitment to me. And some people are like, oh, just live. And I'm like, I am living. This is the way I choose to live because I want to live healthfully. And it's really important to me what I put in my body. And I've created that into a business because I'm so passionate about it. But it is every single day I recommit to myself, and it takes a lot, but then eventually, it becomes a way of life.
Exactly.
So it's, okay. I love this. This is so great. Okay. You kind of talked about this, but how do you take care of your body, and what are your key steps to keeping a healthy attitude around eating and body image?
Yeah. I like to, when I'm on my game, when I'm fully participating in caring for myself, I work for myself, so I have a little bit of luxury in my scheduling. But I like to give, I call it the hour of power. And when I'm really on it, I have a 2 hour of power time.
Nice.
And I do it in the morning. It's either from 6 to 8 or 6 to 7, depending on how much time I have. I like to start my day honoring myself. So I wake up and I usually like to start with some form of exercise just to wake up. If I start with meditation, I tend to fall asleep.
Yes.
So I'll either, take my dog for a walk. I will maybe go for a hike. I will maybe do some sort of stretching or Pilates. But I give myself that time to connect with my body, and I don't force anything. That's a big key. I really just listen to what do I feel like doing today. And so that's that. And then I do that for like 30 minutes. And then I come back, and the next 30 minutes I do some form of meditation or spiritual work. Then when I have the luxury of added time, those are like my, I have to, those are like on my must list, those two things, the exercising and then the meditation or prayer or spiritual work. If I have extra bonus time, I don't spend a lot of time reading, and I love to read. So I'll take another 30 minutes and I will do my reading. And then
Awesome.
the other 30 minutes, I'll take my time and I'll make myself a really good breakfast,
Good.
and actually sit down and eat it.
Yeah,
So when
sitting down and eating it, that's huge.
yeah, right?
Many people make their breakfast and run out the door and take their kids to school, they're getting their kids breakfast ready, and they just don't have time for themselves. So I think, sitting down and eating your food is so important. I mean, on every level, for your digestion, for just mental health, for everything.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So
And I'm doing this launch for Bootcamp right now, and my schedule is, it's ridiculous. There are like 100 things on my to-do list every day, and I was really not practicing what I preach, and I was doing it for about a month. I was waking up at 6. I would start on BodyHeart, and I would work sometimes till like 1 or 2 in the morning. So I was getting like 4 hours of sleep. I wasn't honoring my body. I was like BodyHeart all the time, and I was so depleted. And I finally just got to a point of I can't keep doing this, and so I have made a commitment to myself to do something for myself every day. And it takes an effort. Some days I don't feel like it. Some days I want to start and mark that off the list. But what I do find is that when I take care of me first, who I show up as is completely different.
Absolutely. And you get more done more gracefully and easily. It's just, it's not as much as a struggle if you really take care of yourself first.
Yeah. It's just about trusting that all of that will happen.
Yes. Yeah. And Christine Hassler, who is another amazing coach that you do a lot of stuff with, I love her idea of the to-do list for me and the to-do list for God, where you put all the things that are like a major priority, and then things that can kind of be a little bit like, let God take care of that, and usually it happens.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that's brilliant.
Okay, what would you recommend to someone who has an issue with overeating, crash dieting, or body image issues? I mean, I think it's kind of, you answered it in the last question a little bit, but is there a recommendation that you have for people who are really struggling with these types of things?
I'm just going to share what something that really helped me. I attended a few Overeaters Anonymous meetings.
Yeah.
And I attended a few Food Addicts in Recovery meetings.
Okay.
The tricky thing for me about those is that I didn't become a member, or I didn't go religiously, but I did find inspiration. They're a little bit more of a commitment in that you want to find the right, like the group that feels good for you. Yeah. Because sometimes it can feel very victim-y, and it's not about people wanting to reclaim their health. It's much more about staying in the story. Yes. And I didn't want that. I really wanted to be inspired by what was possible. And so that was something that I found really helpful. People that understood what I was going through, and that could be a support that way and inspiration. But when it came down to it for me, it was really about, I want to take responsibility for my life. I don't like how I am in my body right now. I don't like what I feel. I don't like how I feel. I don't like how I look. What is in my realm to make a change? Yeah. And to really, if you think of your body as you as like a little kid, like picture you as like a 6-year-old, and nurture your body that way, you can't go wrong. When we cherish something and we value something, we really take care of it.
Absolutely.
So it's like, how can you value your body? How can you cherish your body?
Yeah, and I love what you said in the beginning about, we have this one body to go through life with us, so why wouldn't we want to take the best care of it and talk to it nicely and give it love, and because it's going to carry us through for the rest of our lives, and it's our one vehicle to get around. So,
exactly.
We want to take good care of it. So I love that answer. Okay, I think last question. So I have a belief that moderation, a lot of people use the quote, everything in moderation. Mm-hmm. And something I heard when I was at the premiere of Forks Over Knives, which is an awesome film about plant-based eating and changing your life. the creator of that, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, he said moderation is an excuse not to change, and that really hit me in that moment of like, everyone thinks, everyone can say moderation, but what's moderation? Like, moderation to me could be one piece of candy, and moderation to someone else could be 6 pieces of candy. Yeah. So like, I just feel that moderation is one of the things that kind of keeps us stuck. So like, what do you believe is the best approach to healthy eating and a healthy attitude about, our bodies?
I feel like you are the CEO of your body, and only you can determine what is best for her or him.
Love it.
That's honestly, like, if you take on the mind of a scientist and think of your body as an experiment, and then you start following, like, what am I eating and how does that make me feel?
Yeah.
Then that will determine if you should eat meat, if you should eat sugar, if you should eat dairy, if you should eat these things. But you have to try it on, and then you have to take the time to see how that's affecting your body.
Yes.
That is my take on it all. Like, I genuinely feel like I can't necessarily tell you what's best for you because I'm not inside of you.
Right.
You're living in it. And I that's how I feel about everything from, personal trainers to doctors to acupuncturists to nutritionists. Like go and receive their guidance and take on their advice and try it out.
Yes.
I give the analogy of, you wouldn't walk into a store, say you walk into some store that's selling jeans, and they're like, oh my God, these jeans will look great on you, and I think you should buy them in a size 6. And you're like, okay, and maybe they're like 7 jeans, so they're like $200 jeans, and you're like, here, I'm going to put down my $200 having never tried them on.
Right.
No.
Right. Doesn't make no sense.
Right. You would never do that. But we do that all the time when it comes to our body.
Yes.
Doctor, what do you think? Nutritionist, what do you think? Tell me what you think. And it's take back that ownership and that expertise. It's in your body. And I'm not saying that to not listen to your doctor. Like, if you have to have a surgery, have a surgery. But
of course,
a great example is I was struggling with migraines for a really long time. And I had never had them, but I was struggling with them for like 2 years all of a sudden as an adult. So I went to my general practitioner to have a physical, and I was talking to her about it. And she was like, I can give you a prescription to treat it. And I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. I want something to cure it. And she flat out told me that doesn't exist.
Interesting.
So, but that's her expertise. That's what she believes. That's not what I believe. So it was like, thank you very much. I'm going to keep searching and see, maybe acupuncture, maybe this, maybe that.
Right.
So that's what it's about, filtering what works for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I actually, as a child, suffered from migraines too. And I, went to every doctor in the world because that's all I knew then. I had brain scans. I had this, I had that. And what it really came down to was stress. And as a child, I didn't know how to manage my stress. And once I learned how to do that as a young adult in my early 20s, through biofeedback and eating better, my migraines went away. Yeah. So it was all about me just really, not some medication or some pill, but me taking care of myself, from a place that was more tuned in versus like what you're saying is like reaching outside and, just really listening.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, Amber, this was so awesome, and I thank you so much, and I'm excited that all my Karma Chow people are going to get to know more about you and your boot camp that's coming up. And when does that start again?
The course starts on February 13th.
Right before Valentine's Day.
Exactly. Give yourself some body love. The enrollment opens. You can register starting February 6th. And it's an 8-week program, and the cool thing about it is you get lifetime membership to it. So once you're in it, once you're in it once, you can retake it and retake it and retake it, because it's about developing tools that are going to be with you for life.
Yeah, I love that. That's so important, and I'm really excited because I work with a lot of people, a lot of women especially, who struggle with these types of things, and they a lot of them think the next diet or the next, whatever is going to help, but it really is about that internal process and really coming, and I know that you provide those tools. So I'm really excited to share this with everyone, and thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you very much. I had an awesome time. You're the best. I heart you.
You're awesome. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Melissa.
All right. You too. Have a good day.
Bye.